Greetings. We continue today with part three of the Bride Unveiled. We're looking at the size and shape and the composition of the city. I would remind you again that when the angel, the messenger, told John, "Come here, I'll show you the bride, the Lamb's wife," John says he showed me the city, and we're studying in detail the details of that city that are recorded in Revelation 21. And again, I encourage you to take a look and look up all the stones that are listed and have them in mind as we progress in this study. Verse 21 says literally, "And the 12 gates, 12 pearls," and that word is used distributively. Each one of the gates, it was being out of one pearl. And the broad street of the city, purified gold, just as transparent glass. Now, there is debate about whether the New Jerusalem will be, quote, on the earth or above the earth. So let's focus for a moment on the height of the city. I found a couple of interesting pictures in researching ziggurats and the stones. I found one where it has a view from the top of a ziggurat or a stepped pyramid that was interesting. I had another one where the guy had the foundations around the square base, not stacked upon each other, and another one as it goes, and had them in the order of a rainbow. But the person who conceptualized that particular arrangement admitted that they had to rearrange the order that was given in Revelation 21 to accomplish that. However, I think it worthwhile to visualize the fact that all the stones fall within the prism of the colors of the rainbow. Now remember, Genesis stated that the Tower of Babel was supposed to be a city with a tower reaching to heaven. The pyramid concept can be the combining of the two things. And such a design is not contrary to biblical descriptions like the one recorded in Isaiah chapter 6 in verses 1 through 3. In Isaiah 6:1 it says, "In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw also the Lord sitting upon a throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Above it stood the seraphims, and each one had 6 wings. With twain or two he covered his face, and with twain he covered his feet, and with twain he did fly. And one cried one to another and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory." Now I recall Revelation 4:2, where it says, "And immediately I was in the Spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne." I believe I stated when we dealt with Revelation 4:2 that John's first impression was heaven. The first detail that he states about it concerned its theocentricity. I have some information that you should look up concerning the depiction of Earth's atmosphere, the first heaven of Bible accounting. When you look at those, you find the different areas and layers such as the stratosphere, the mesosphere, and things like that. This is just information I want to share for perspective for us. We hear a lot about the USS or the United States Space Station, the space shuttle, and rockets. Well, when those go up, they go out of the Earth's mesosphere into the Earth's thermosphere. And frankly, when I reviewed and verified this information, I was somewhat surprised that the International Space Station is in the thermosphere of Earth's atmosphere, is not in the second heaven, as the Bible describes it, or what is referred to as the exosphere, which means out of the sphere. The orbit of the International Space Station varies above the Earth from 205 to 258 miles from the Earth's surface. the space shuttle went to and from the International Space Station. And when they did that, they were still technically in the Earth's atmosphere. The exosphere begins 300 factual distance to 450 miles, various estimates, above the Earth's surface. Now, I only mention these facts for the following reason. If the dimensions of the new heaven and the new earth are the same as the present ones when they're created in Revelation 21, verses 1 and 2, then the base of New Jerusalem would be on the earth. However, the topmost part of the New Jerusalem, which is 1,200 miles high, would reach into the second heaven as we now know it. That's approximately 6 times higher than the International Space Station in its current orbits. I would like for us to recall that the expanse of this second heaven reaches from Earth's atmosphere to the third heaven, the one where God dwells. This is the change being noted. God moves his dwelling place among men from the third heaven to the earth and the second heaven. This also brings clarity to the debate over whether New Jerusalem will be on the earth or in the heavens. As it would be, as things are now, it would be both at the same time. And then again, we would state much of these arguments are just over semantics. Then finally, let us consider the plural 12 foundations and yet a singular wall, which is being referenced. Some have depicted all 12 foundations together at the base. I would simply like for us to consider the possibility of 12 equal stories, 125 miles each, with 12 gates and 3 per side, in the pyramid design as being a viable option in Scripture. Yes, there is a picture of a building, a modern building that's built in this style, and yeah, it would be kind of like that. Interestingly, this design appears to be 12 stories in height. Well, some might object that such a building design is impossible, and yet I would remind them, quote, nothing is impossible with God. Hebrews 1:10, quoting Psalm 102, verse 25 says, "And thou, Lord, in the beginning hast laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the works of thine hands." Job 38:4 asks, "Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if thou hast understanding." Verse 5 continues, "And who hath laid the measure thereof, if thou knowest, or who hath stretched a line upon it? Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened? And who laid the cornerstone thereof?" Isaiah 64:4 is quoted in 1 Corinthians 2:9, where it says, "For since the beginning of the world men have not heard, nor perceived by the ear, neither hath the eye seen, O God, beside thee, what he hath prepared for him that waiteth for him." Let me conclude this section by saying even all the details which the Apostle John is allowed to add in the Revelation, these words are still true. I can discern the facts which the Scripture states are truths. However, my finite mind has trouble fully comprehending them. But I joy just to think that by God's grace through my faith, I can be a citizen of this heavenly kingdom and have a place and position which will be granted to me and each one on the basis of their service rendered to him after our salvation.